set the record straight for a minute. Hate, I get it. Say it.
I want to know if he's bunking up with Tyrrell, and if he's the big spoon or the little spoon. I think he'd be little spoon just out of principle, because Tyrrell's kind of, he's got the elderly gravitas.
Envy hits the peanut gallery. They all jelly.
Yeah, and that's true. And using those key stats, they are the key things that we've used to pick out our markets. I don't appreciate the laughing, because I recognize how fumbled that was as I lost my train of thought. But anyways, back to the emergency.
No.
Wait, what was that?
I like that you came back to start it off fresh. We're gonna do it live, damn it. 3, 2, 1.
Real legend never die. Still with the finish, you should cry, let it lie. Side for an eye, let's go real suicide.
We're coming in hot tonight. It's Major Week PGA Championship on tap. I'm Angela Duke, aka Mr. Mallard, and this is Chief of Morale. Bud Copeland joining us, cracking. What I'm going to say, hold on, don't show me. I'm going to guess this is a. Why do I see you as a LaCroix seltzer drinker?
Because I'm a LaCroix seltzer drinker.
Yeah.
However, this is not LaCroix. This is just some good old-fashioned, localized, stop and shop, Nature's Promise organic, grapefruit flavored sparkling water. Son, it is PGA Championship week. It is major week here on Divots and Pivots. And as you can tell, I'm a little bit flustered, coming in hot as usual, but that's because I had a change of plans earlier today, and in 24 hours, I'm going to be in Louisville. I'm going to be there for round 1 of the PGA this week. So if you see me out there, say hi, to the dozens that are going to be listening to this eventually. So I had to get some ducks in order. And my brother-in-law, we had a conversation Saturday night. He was a little bit in his cup. He was really excited about volunteering this week. His job, by the way. So, the hundreds of people volunteer, but you have to actually pay to volunteer at some of these things. Like, he had to pay money, and then he takes a course, and but you get a ton of cool gear, and you get to be at the tournament all week. And anyways, they have different jobs. The people that holding up the quiet sign, the people running around putting a little, thing in the ground when the ball gets hit in the rough. His job apparently this week is, you ready for this? He's the beer bitch for the players. They're not cranking beers, but his job is to, I guess, stock and restock the coolers on the tee boxes around the course. And I don't know how often. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to record something while I'm out there to maybe get a little firsthand knowledge of what it's like on the ground and behind the scenes. But exciting times for Boudreaux, for Divots and Pivots, for us. We'll get into it. My opening thought has to do with what you've been doing recently online, but coming in like this. So that's a full disclaimer, because I did not do a ton of homework. But then again, when I finally did put in my numbers into the old Mooseonomics, machine there on Fantasy National, the names that I would have been pulling, shooting from the hip anyway, because it's a major week, were the names that are up there. So when we get to that, there's not too much science behind it when it's a major week. Really just kind of have to see the creams rising to the top. And we've got storylines on storylines on storylines. So we'll try to tidy up anything pivot-ish that we have to take care of before we get into the PGA. How are you, brother? That was a lot of, what do we got? 3 minutes and 44 seconds. And I think your word count is at 8. I had the under.
Well, first of all, when we get to the emergency 9 later, very chalky, agreed. It's just, it's major week. Like you said,
I'm try to outsmart it.
I had the thought here, as you said, that your brother-in-law that's his job this weekend, and I love it. Nature's Promise, Stop and Shop, a client of mine, so good choice. I had the thought, I was like, okay, such a cool job, but at the same time, I bet you it's a wicked annoying job trying to drive a cart around the course in those crowds. I bet you is gonna be so frustrating to just be going at a snail's pace around every turn, everywhere. I bet you it takes a while to get from tee to tee for him. This week, I would imagine so, which would drive me absolutely insane as a Massachusetts driver.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say, is this would be an interesting sociological experiment onto your temperament, because as you say it, you're like, oh my god, it's on the way. I gotta get
right now.
I gotta get from A to B. If I were at the PGA doing what he's doing, I mean, there's an urgency to it because people are relying on you, etc. But I'd just be soaking it in. I mean, I'm the guy on the golf cart. I've got the badge, check out the name tag lady. You're in my world now, grandma. That would be my take on it. But Anyway, on with the show.
Yeah.
It's going to be an exciting couple of days here. Check us out on the Instahams and the TikToks at This Buds For You, at Real Mr. Mallard, and of course at Divots. What is your opening thought coming into this week? I do have mine, but what is yours?
Yeah. So my opening thought is really, this is going to be a shameless plug little minute or two here, because I realize we don't do enough kind of promoting of what we got going on. Obviously we promote the show, but I forget we would never talk about our own merch. We got our merch up over on dc4lcustomtees.com. Get over there, Divots and Pivots, buy all the merch. You can email the show as well if you have questions, if you have takes you want us to read online, or not online, but yes, on the air. divotsandpivots@gmail.com. Get on that as well. But then Bud and I do a lot of fun stuff during the week. Bud's got his every single day morning kind of dump of knowledge on you of stuff that you never knew you needed to know until you hear it, and then you realize, I'm gonna rule at bar trivia one day. This is all gonna come out. It's just gonna come in my head. So that's what you.
Everybody's goal in life: rule at bar trivia.
No lie, my dad and uncle went to bar trivia last night, and they texted me, and I usually go with them, but it's baseball season. My son's got practice on Monday night, so we haven't gone in a while.
Married to the game.
So they texted me, they finished third place. I was like, damn it, it's because I wasn't there. I must be the weak link. They said we would have won if I was there. Regardless, the bar trivia is legit. But yeah, get at us. Email us in. We want to interact with you guys. Get the merch. It's some fun. We got some fun new designs up there. And then yeah, check out Bud every single morning. You have it up by what, 8 o'clock every morning, 9 o'clock the latest, typically.
Usually 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Every morning. Then on the weekends, you find me on the TikTok, on the YouTube short sphere with Good Morning Wood. I just do stupid, silly things that embarrasses myself and gets people online to call me a
healthy,
beta
entertaining
bitch.
Content.
It is. It's fun. I have fun doing it. It's meant to be funny and stupid. So,
all right,
so
since you said
with
that,
it.
fucking comb, Cooper.
What are you gonna comb for? You have no hair.
Because this is where this is where I manhandle my 3-year-old's hair in the morning to try to get it into somewhat of a ponytail. I don't know why. I just get the tangles out and then I send her on her way. Whoever called you a bitch, or whoever's hating on you for the whole
whatever.
She said no thing. No. I just,
they obviously missed the joke. I don't care. Whatever.
For sure. Absolutely for sure. Because I'm tell you right now, I shout out, thank you, whatever you want to say, to my roommate and lovely wife, because on a dime, it's like, hey honey, do you mind if I just go head on out to Kentucky for a couple days for the PGA? And she just looked me dead in the face and she's like, why do you ask me questions I can't say no to? Of course you can go, but then I'm I've got to earn it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
You make up for it.
But golf is definitely a balancing act, especially when you have loved ones to consider. So kudos to you for putting that out there. Now on with the show.
Yes.
It's PGA week. There's really not too much outside of that I care to look into. God, Rory won the Wells Fargo. He ran away with it. And I saw some people bitching and moaning about this. This is the problem with, signature events, small field, no cut kind of shit. And all I can think is, for every one of those, there's probably half a dozen where there were 10 guys within 3 shots. It's just, stop overreacting to the moment. Yeah, Rory's in form. He looks good this week. There's a huge couple of storylines there we'll dig into. But so the Wells Fargo was tidied up. Nelly Korda did not get her 6th in a row. The train stopped at 5. But what are you going to do? History's tough to make. Outside of all that, nothing too much. So where do you want to start?
So there was a story, and I last minute remembered it. Can't remember the kid's name. I'm hoping you do. Do you see
Blades Brown? Blades Brown.
Thank you. There it is. Thank you. Yeah, he went. We should have 66 this week, something like that.
Whatever, man. He went like 9 or 10 under. He's 15 years old. He's more composed than I am.
This is now twice in the last month that we're seeing really the future of golf showing up a little bit. Look, the only quick point there is going to be a very quick point here. The future is bright for golf. Everyone, for every argument you hear where the stars are leaving and no one's watching golf, you have kids like him and the other guy who are they're coming up. They're going to do great things as they grow up.
Yeah, the core of the game is going to be fine, and there's a great
Yeah.
future. And you see in the NBA right now, they say the future is now. These young kids, they're ready, they're composed, they're smart, they don't need the scar tissue, they're confident because they've been working with head. I mean, Blades Brown, his mom played in the WNBA, so he kind of grew up in a household where you had a natural, mentor, coach, or whatever into the psyche of sport, and that's the difference maker. I mean, look at these quarterbacks coming out of the draft now. It used to be you get drafted and then all right, enjoy the 2 or 3. Even if you were number 1 overall, a lot of times it was enjoy your 2 or 3 years sitting behind whatever veteran's gonna groom you until they're coming out now. And I mean, it's like, can I skip my bowl game and play in the playoffs for the team that's going to draft me anyway?
The expectation is to start right away now.
Akshay Bhatia, he's here this week, and he's a perfect example too. He just skipped everything. He's like, I knew at 13 that I was going to do this for a living, so I dedicated my life to it. My parents supported me, and he's here. I'm not saying it's for everybody. Stay in school, kids. But the future is very bright. I'm glad you brought up Blades Brown because also it's a fucking badass name. That's a great name, Blades.
I know
Brown.
It's a good one.
He looks
That's one I would love to see.
He looks like a little mini Kevin Kisner too. Next time you look at it, you won't be able to unsee it. He looks like a little mini of Kevin Kisner.
You're right. Now that you say that, you're right. You're right.
Actually, can we find a picture of this kid? Where is this? Blades
I had one. I just had one up. The second you said his name, I had to bring it up real fast. So I forgot his name. But yeah, I like that. There is some news in golf this week.
Talk to me.
Jimmy Dunn resigns from the players board. So another not players, but from the board of directors, PGA board of directors.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Another VP steps down from the board. So we obviously had, I forget his name, but we had one drop off last year.
Hold on a second, real quick. Yes. Tell me that's not a little mini Kevin Kisner.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I can see it. You know what it is? This is going to sound weird. It's the way he wears the hat. I think it's the way the hat falls on the ears and all that. I think it just, you can
see it. Kiz has got a bigger nose.
In some pictures. In some pictures.
Thanks for letting me get down to the bottom of that. How do I stop? There's a big fucking button that says stop sharing. What were you saying?
But Jimmy Dunn resigns, and this is another the whole board between the players board, because Rory, now word also came out this past week that it looks like Rory's not going to return after the season to the players board as part of that PGA board of directors. There's still some shakeups happening amongst the elite decision makers for the PGA. And it's impossible until we have an answer. It's impossible to not connect this to the ongoing, lingering questions about the PIF PGA merger. And I can't decide which way I think why he's resigning. Is it because he doesn't like the way it's going, leaning towards a merger with PIF, or if it's the complete opposite? Like I can't figure out the direction here because I don't attribute it to age. I don't think Jimmy Dunn. It's not like I think he's just ready to be done, pun intended, with everything. Like, what do you feel anything about this?
Yeah, I feel a lot of things about this. I have feelings. Jimmy Dunn was the first person through the wall. He was brought in a time of uncertainty. He brokered this deal. He kind of started it before he was brought onto the board. He got his ultimate thing, and it said so in his resignation letter. His ultimate kind of win in his tenure is getting these lawsuits dismissed and getting everybody to kind of sit down and start talking again, which is mission accomplished. After that, and he said, my vote was always going to go with the direction of the committee, which at the time was majority held by the non-players. He's like, well, now that the players, with the addition of Tiger, they have the majority now. He's like, so he said, my position is superfluous, which basically he was saying I had leverage when we were in the majority. Now that I'm in the minority, I'm just going to bow out. My job is done here. He was, and he was saying, there's still a lot of work to be done. I'm not totally sure. I kind of see the direction it's going, but everybody needs to be patient. And then Tiger was asked about it at his press conference. He asked a couple of tough questions. One of them about his goatee from Danny Rapp over at Barstool. Sitting there with
I saw those pictures. He is running that back, which is a little surprising, but I don't mind it. I don't mind the goatee.
I just think it's funny. Yeah, the goat. Get it? Goatee. Anyway. When they asked Tiger about it, they said, do you agree with Jimmy Dunn's self-assessment that his position was superfluous? He's like, no, I really don't. As a matter of fact, this kind of shocked me. He's like, and then he went and gave Jimmy Dunn his flowers. But he did ultimately pivot because somebody followed up, or part of that same question was Jimmy Dunn pointing to the players kind of being in control now. And Tiger's like, well, I mean, the tour is by us for us kind of thing. And And so it's one of those, you can't fault us for wanting that. He's like, I understand where now that he's done what he needs to do, he wants to step aside. And then broaden it a little bit more to Rory McIlroy, like you said. A month ago, he says, we're all like, hey, Webb Simpson. Was like, hey, I'm going to resign, but if and only if y'all are cool with Rory taking my spot to fill everything out. And, I guess there's probably some verbal yeses, and then a couple weeks go by, and then and there's a couple of things. There was a quick report out because Rory did say there's a subset of individuals who are uncomfortable with my return. He didn't go into too much detail, and then the PGA Tour came behind him and said, this is really much more procedural. We just went through a huge overhaul. We can't have people just kind of saying, hey, my buddy's going to take my seat. There are
and
rules.
That's fair.
Yep. That is fair. And if true, understandable. The other side was, Tiger and Patrick Cantlay and Jordan Spieth voted him down. From my understanding, there wasn't a vote to be held in the first place because of the procedural thing. Somebody pointed out, like, hey, we can't really even do this. Like, it's, so that's not how things work. Good. Because for Rory, he ended up on this transaction subcommittee. The transaction subcommittee, people got to understand this big thing with the PGA Tour and the PGA Tour Enterprises, their new for-profit entity. The PGA Tour Enterprises already has the Fenway Group as a partner, $3 billion. Boom, there it is. They could walk away and probably be okay, but then they would reignite the battle with LIV, and they would have to start chipping away at some of that money in ways they don't want to, the courtroom, competition, etc. So they're trying to figure out, is PIF really still interested in getting invested, given they're not going to be in that kind of, catbird seat as far as a stakeholder or an investor is concerned? All signs point to yes, because they too want to just unify this global thing, or whatever global entity is going to be created next. PIF just wants a seat at the table. Yeah. And so that's this one singular thing. The PGA Tour Policy Board, the board of directors, for lack of a better phrase, they're the governing body. So I think the point is, this is not a governance issue. This is a kind of investment for the private company. This is not part of. So they have this subgroup, this kind of task force, this committee that is doing the negotiating. And Adam Scott, Rory McIlroy, and Tiger Woods are the three players that are on there, along with Jay, and then a couple of other, I want to say John Henry's on there, and then two other non-player members.
John Henry's on there.
So there's this group that's going to be doing, and that's where Rory belongs anyways. I mean, his return, I think, was more so to kind of finish what he started, for lack of a better phrase, by taking the slings and arrows and the bullets early on, and then feeling like he got screwed. And then all of a sudden, this is where you saw it in full swing. He goes, just feels like I've been stabbed in the back, or, that kind of look came across his face of, shit, I'm insignificant. Like, these guys are just playing without me. I'm their shiny toy. Like, and that's why I said it from the beginning. That's why Tiger just sat on the sidelines for the longest freaking time. And then it was time to bring in the closer, and that's what's happening. And so there's a bunch of moving parts there. I think that Rory ended up where he's supposed to be. We're going to find out over time if all of this led to his divorce that got announced earlier today. He and Erica filed papers in Florida.
I saw that quickly, and I wasn't sure how true it was, so I was like hesitant to bring it up. But if you're bringing up that, I must assume that you at least did a little research and know that it's true.
Es verdad. It is true. Roars is getting divorced. So back to real quick to tidy up what you were getting at with the moving and shaking on the board. I honestly think that we're just paying closer attention right now because of the LIV stuff. Oh God, Florida score.
Yeah, Florida score.
Oh, you hockey people. I think we're just paying more attention to it because of the big LIV separation. Now, LIV is a more interesting topic, and I want to real quick open with John Rahm has got to get a clue. Did you catch his comments?
No,
or at least
to me. Break it to me.
So at his press conference today, obviously all these guys are getting asked about the state of golf, and especially the big names. If you're smart, you're not asking Brooksy those questions, or DJ. I'm just here to play golf.
Exactly,
but Jordan Spieth, you're on the policy board. He got peppered with some questions. John Rahm, you're the latest kind of big thing. What do you think about this? He played this it was so schmarmy because I think he really hammed up his accent a little bit. I think he kind of leaned into
Really?
you know how like really smooth Spanish, man. Just I don't understand why everybody thinks that there's contention, and then he started saying things like, "I'm still a proud PGA Tour member. I don't understand why you say I'm on the other side." And
Wait,
I
but
want to
is
be like,
he?
because you took $500 million to
But
go
that brings
play
up
in
a good
another
point.
league.
Did they
He didn't.
officially take away his card?
No, I don't think they kicked anybody out. People
Did they not? I
voluntarily
thought. See,
withdrew. Him, no.
yeah, but
He just
I thought they did at first with at least the first
he's
wave of
suspended.
guys.
He's
Is that what
under
it was? It was
yeah,
okay.
he's
It's a
suspended
suspension.
right
Okay.
now, but he's not kicked out.
Yeah,
Uh,
but still, to your point, to say that you're still a
he
proud PGA Tour member, like you got to
he
read the
is
room.
he's still a student at George Washington Carver Elementary. He is just under suspension right now while attending classes at Bumfuck Academy. So it's just tone deaf and stupid. And honest to God, the people that live, they need to get somebody to talk to these guys about just, or not. Who cares? Maybe they're like, we have enough money and you're just jealous of us. No, I think you look like an ass. And I think you
Yeah,
lose
that's all it is. I
followers or
don't
anything
care
you
about the
want.
money.
Also, he's been playing like garbage over on Live. It's not like he's been blowing it up, and he's shown some
Yeah.
signs of frustration. He's like, "Oh, I wish we had 72 holes. Oh, the music takes getting used to. Oh, I'm still a PGA Tour." I've been saying this all along. He keeps laying out these kind of foundational stones to eventually, take whatever financial penalty it takes to get out of his contract and come back. The dust is going to settle before that and everything. But where I think the dust is going to settle with Live is down under, because they've had their biggest splash in Australia.
Yeah.
Back-to-back years. Greg Norman's a fucking hero. He's a national treasure down there, along with Cam Smith.
Yeah. And
They
good for them. Good for them bringing
right.
that type of experience of golf to Australia. Because yes, there's tournaments in Australia, DP World Tour, but nothing quite like that.
I just don't see them cracking into the American market, because as you pointed out, we got a lot of good stars coming down the pike. And this deal, unless this deal with the PIF involves some sort of détente or truce or whatever with Live and a coexistence, I highly doubt it, because now that the financial leverage is a little bit less, for the Saudis, I think that the Americans like Jordan's, there's people who talk about the player directors and within the PGA Tour players themselves, they're split. Some of them are saying, yes, let's make a deal with the PIF because more money, not more problems, but or they're saying, we've got our money. We know we've got our game plan. Let's walk away. I think that's a little short-sighted.
We're not quoting Diddy songs on this show these days.
That was Biggie, man.
Well, it was both of them.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Diddy, the diddler. God, that's so gross. Thanks for bringing that into the show. I can't. What were we even talking about? John Rahm. I'm not even mad at John Rahm now.
Yeah.
Now I'm mad at you for talking about P. Diddy. I was quoting Biggie. I was going with Biggie. I don't know why, but then does it make you question their relationship? Okay, I won't go there. So John Rahm needs to get a clue. The live folks need to hire some help there, because or just it's kind of like, well, Brooks, that's his personality last week. Oh, I guess you weren't paying attention last week.
Which I'm fine with. I love that personality. That's just take your bag, play your golf, and stay out of it. Kind of like that's the way to go about it in my eyes, because that shows an awareness. Well, yeah, but still, it still shows an awareness of the situation where he's not going to feed into it more with stupid comments.
Unfortunately,
like he's at least reining himself in, and it's showing it in an asshole way, but he's reining it in.
I think he was just off base, because it's like the scene was set that him and Matty Wolff are playing together in the final round of a tournament. Okay, that's intriguing enough because they're both former PGA Tour guys. Great, check.
Sure.
They used to be teammates. Not only teammates, Brooks was his captain. Not only that, Brooks was very openly critical of him. Not only that, he traded him to another fucking team. And this is for the lead. This is not like round 2, 1, or, hole 14 or whatever the hell they were doing the week before. So for Brooks, I think Brooks was doing what he does, which is trying to punch back. But unfortunately, it's like, you don't have a leg to stand on. That's a legit question. And if you just want to be a dick about it, be a dick about it. But guess you weren't paying attention last week because I played with him. And it's like, that has not, you're just bringing in things that mean
you're forced to pay.
Yeah, that's irrelevant. Like that's in the past.
Not like you chose to go out and play a weekend round with them just for fun. Like, you're not hanging out cracking
Right.
beers together. Which, by the way, did you see real fast? I don't want to spend more time on Live right now. It's PGA week. Did you see that the Live will be? I think this was announced this past week and not the week before, that they are going to open up a trade window in season now as well. Did you see that? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I just want to see if you saw it. That's all. But let's get to some PGA Championship news this week, because there's two storylines. One, I'm a little worried about the weather. Friday and Saturday. Friday is looking a little rough.
As long as it
90%
doesn't rain
chance
Thursday,
of
I
rain.
don't care.
So no, Thursday looks great. Actually, it looks partly
I know.
cloudy. It looks beautiful temperature. Like Thursday
Warm,
looks great.
breezy.
Friday looks like it's gonna be a bit rough.
All right,
and
so
then Saturday is like 50% chance, but still, it's. I'm a little worried about the weather on Friday. I think it's gonna play a factor. Obviously, on cut day, I think it's gonna play a big factor. It's gonna want to make me lean towards guys who are in the afternoon on Thursday, the early session on Friday, is what I'm thinking.
say that again.
So,
I got
guys,
lost.
so I
got lost disagreeing with you.
I think I want guys teeing off in the morning on Friday. It all depends on when the weather's going to really hit Friday, but I think I'm going to want guys teeing off early on Friday, which means I want guys teeing off in the afternoon on Thursday.
You want guys going out Thursday, getting their round in, and then hopefully getting their round in Friday before shit hits the fan.
Or at least some of it in, yes.
It's okay. That's fair. I'll give it to you. I was going to say, when the weather gets like this, first of all, Valhalla is no joke. You want to say a little premature hello to Underdog, and then just really just go head over heels
we can do
into the PGA Championship. All right.
I like your style, sir.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever, and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code DIVPIV to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
There we go. Yeah, I like that, because even the weather and one more news story, it's all PGA Championship related. So okay, where are you going to go with the weather here? Because I think I know where you're going, but tell me where you are. Where are you going with that?
Honestly, I was just going to say, look for younger players or what's the word I'm looking for? Longer guys. Let's just look for longer hitters. You're not going to like Brian Harmon. Brian Harmon doesn't stand a chance this week. No offense. All due respect to Brian Harmon, but like you're not knocking it 270 without roll in wet, long conditions. Valhalla. Quick little thing about Valhalla. Jack Nicklaus course, been around for, I want to say it was 81 when it opened up, and it hosted the PGA back in 96. We saw Tiger win here in 2000. Rory got his last major, his fourth, overall major was here 10 years ago. So when you talk about stars aligning, we'll get into that in a minute.
It's been a while for Rory. That's another storyline. It's been a while.
But the course itself is an absolute monster, 7,600 plus from the tips, and that's just on the scorecard from the backs. These, the PGA can mess around here and there, probably stretch this thing out to 8,000 yards if it wants to, which it probably will. We saw them do that at Kiowa. They don't mind pushing it back, pushing these guys.
Because I think it's even the the par. I think it's number 13, the par 3 13. I think I might have the whole number wrong, but it's one of the par 3s has like a whole 50 yards it can be lengthened to, depending on where they put the tee and the pin on the same day. Like there's wiggle room in this course.
There's a couple of them like that. 13 though stands out because it's got a little island green, like a little tiny island.
Correct.
Green. It's a short.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah,
that's what you're talking about. Yeah. It's a short par 5 or par 4, 350, but they can stretch it back. If they put that pin back and they put the tees way back, it adds, like you said, another 35, 40 yards or whatever. A lot of limestone around this part on these parts. Fun little story about the 18th hole. It's got a split fairway there, and the original design did not call for a split fairway, but Jack Nicklaus's sketches marked where some limestone was, and he said possible waterfall feature. And then when they kind of push comes to shove, what are we going to do with all this? We got to move this limestone. That's a lot of shit to move. And instead, what they did was say, leave it. they brought a bunch of stone from around the rest of the course that they were going to have to move. And they created this massive waterfall structure in the middle that then eventually kind of naturally created a landing area to the right, forcing golfers to actually make a decision. And the last time the PGA was hosted here, they didn't utilize the right-hand side of the green. So no golfers went for the right-hand side of the fairway. I guess this year they're committed to putting the pin over there once or twice to really make the golfers decide. It's a fun finishing hole. A little bit of risk reward, but it's just a monster of a course. And so look for, the kind of the long straight hitters who are ball strikers and they can roll the rock.
We'll
really
get to
talking about a dozen to 20 guys who have a shot.
Correct. And that is what it comes down to. We'll get to our key three, but just to round this out. So does the weather on Friday and Saturday concern you at all?
No, I couldn't
care
less.
Okay.
I think if anything, it adds an element of intrigue for me, because I mean, if the weather rolls in Friday, then we get a marathon of golf on Saturday to watch, and then
this is true.
I think it's everybody has to deal with it. It's kind of like the Belichick mentality of being outside in the rain. He's like, if the game was on, we'd be playing, so we're going to practice. And I mean, I know you get that. It's just, all right, the course is one storyline. It's coming back here. They also, Ryder Cup was here in 2008, and I think they've hosted a couple of other big things. It's looks like I can't wait to get on the grounds and just walk around.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of your pictures, some of your takes from down there. The other kind of storyline coming out of PGA week this week, it just came out today in Tiger's press conference with his goatee. There's he's really seems to be tempering expectations and not very optimistic for himself this week. And I want to just bring it up now because I know for a fact he's not going to be. I haven't seen your emergency 9, but I know he's not in our emergency 9 at this point of his career and where we're at. But it's just stark difference because he came into the Masters very confident, and even if it was false confidence, he was at least putting it on. You know what I mean? And he's now coming into this very outwardly being like, I wish I was playing better coming into this week. Like I want to see him play well, but quite honestly, this isn't the major that I'm seeing. If he's going to win one more in his career, it wasn't going to be the PGA Championship. No, if he's going to win another one, it's going to be either the Masters or honestly, it's going to be an Open Championship, I think.
Right, but as long as he's got a lifetime invitation to the PGA, he's going to play as long as he can.
Oh, of course he is.
As long as he can put it on a peg. You're right. So I think we're going to see a lot of this, kind of not ceremonialism, but
sure.
Kind of a gracious approach. And then you'll see him get serious around Augusta and the Open Championship, because those are courses that, as long with the Open Championship, that's where weather, though, if it gets wet and windy and cold, Big Cat's kind of
it's tough on the joints, but at least the courses that for those at least play to be a bit more forgiving for where he's at in his game right now.
So you're right. Tiger's not going to be a factor this week as far as the competition is concerned. But I am going to try to catch a glimpse of him tomorrow. On Thursday, he goes out early. Nice. You were talking about storylines. So one of the biggest ones coming in. So we talked about Rory, and his divorce. Yeah. Scotty Scheffler just had a kid. And by the way, if anybody thinks that they're not like us. Okay. They're just not like us. He's not going to be sleep deprived and all that kind of shit. This is a major championship. He's got a team. Obviously probably his wife just gave birth, so she's not traveling. The baby's back home. And and one more thing to kind of pay attention to, he's not going to have Ted Scott on the bag on Saturday, his caddy. Apparently they have an agreement. Ted Scott's going to go to one of his kids' graduations, I think, graduation or baseball game or something like that. I want to say it's a graduation. And Scotty's like family first. And so you got Scotty's going to be without his main guy.
That could be big.
Rory with the divorce. I just saying that out loud. Rory,
it's weird, right?
Looming, and coming off of a win, and with all the pressure mounting and et cetera, et cetera. I still say that Brooksy's going to win this thing. I mean, I'm just going to go out on a limb right now early and say that's my pick for the winner. I think it's major Brooksy season. He kind of has mind control over the Wanamaker. Fun quick story about the Wanamaker Trophy. If you missed me this morning, you can go right now at thisbuds4u FORE on Instagram. Follow it, give it a follow. But this morning, told a quick little vignette about the Wanamaker Trophy. It's a big, massive trophy that you get for winning the PGA, right? Walter Hagen, Here's your quick history lesson of the PGA. Walter Hagen's the king of the PGA Championships. Jack Nicklaus has 5. That's in the stroke play era. They used to play match play for this thing, and it was brutal. You'd have a 36-hole qualifying round, and then I think you would have to play something like 6 consecutive matches. All matches were 36 holes. So these guys were playing just absolute fucking marathons, and Walter Hagen, was winning. So after the 1925 PGA, it was in Olympia Fields just outside of Chicago. And so he goes out that night. He wants to party a little bit, but he's got this massive trophy with him. And so he finds a cab and a cab driver, and he's like, gives the guy $5, which back in 1925 is, I don't have the exchange rate in front of me, but it's a little chunk of change, a little solid little jingle jangle. And he just says, hey, we'll deliver this back to my hotel. Well, the next morning comes and there's no trophy in Walter's room, and he just kind of quietly goes about his business. And the next year when he shows up for the PGA Championship, the tournament officials are like, where's our trophy? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm just going to win again anyway, so I didn't even bring it. And they were pissed, but they were like, oh, Walter, kind of calling his bluff. He did win. And then he just didn't have the trophy out for his picture. And then he won again the next year. Same kind of lie. He's just riding it out there. And then in 1928, he doesn't win and he has to come clean. And then, I
don't have it.
Right. I don't have it. I lost it. Like, I don't know what to do.
When did you lose it 4 years ago? It doesn't matter.
Fuck it. So Cabby took it in Chicago. You didn't think to tell somebody? Nah. So they real quick, they ran into the clubhouse and the Maryland State Cup was sitting there. I guess they were Baltimore Country Club or something. And they used it that year as a stand-in for the Wanamaker. They got a replacement trophy made for 2 years. And then in 1931, just out of nowhere, 5 days before the tournament, it showed back up. Somebody just dropped it off in a box at the clubhouse, and there it was. When they traced the delivery, like there was no return address, no nothing. But apparently it was all traced back to a warehouse in Detroit, Michigan for a company that actually made Walter Hagen's clubs. And somebody just found this box unopened in the basement, and they opened it and they saw the Wanamaker trophy. So they sent it back. And now
how does it end up from a cabbie in Chicago to a freaking warehouse in Detroit where they make Walter Hagen's clubs? That's wild.
The going theory is that the cab driver did actually take it back to the hotel. Then one of Walter's people just boxed it up and shipped it back or brought it back to because the warehouse where it was found was, like I said, it was a golf club company, and it was like LA and Sons or some shit like that. It was the company that actually bought Walter Hagen's equipment line that he had started. And so it all kind of does, it's in the family. And so it does kind of, so maybe it showed up and somebody just put it down there. And since nobody labeled it,
sounds like a simple Wanamaker.
Simple clerical error. Where's the Mona Lisa? So there's your fun fact about the Wanamaker for today.
I love it.
Looking at the field, we talked about there's really only like a dozen, maybe 20 guys who can win this thing. But that doesn't mean that there are, Michael, we got some interesting guys coming back, and they just released the tee times in some of the groups. And some of the ones that stood out to me, first of all, Michael Block is leading things off at 7:15 a.m. And what's interesting to me, I love that you were thinking about weather. Because when I talk about, or I think about the times that people tee off, I always think it's interesting to see where they position these guys, because a lot of it has to do with television and ratings. Who do you want in prime time on Friday? Who do you want?
You want late morning, you want early afternoon. Those are the slots.
Right. And so I think you got Tiger Woods going off at something like 8 or 9 on, let's see here. Where's T Gray?
That's honestly a bit early. I would have thought.
He's going 8:05 with Adam Scott, or 8:04 with Adam Scott and Keegan Bradley. I will catch up with that group. Sure.
So I would have expected him around like the 10-15 range, but that's a little early for Tiger. If I'm being honest.
No, because you want Tiger Woods walking up 18 at 7:45 p.m. on Friday night. That's what you want.
Okay. I get where I get. Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Like it's always when you invert
when you do the math, yes.
If he's 8:04 off 10, he's probably going to be 2:30 off of 1 on Friday.
You're right.
So that's why, because then you look right after him. So you got 8:04 and then 8:15, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, and Justin Rose, followed by Cam Smith, Hideki Matsuyama, Victor Hovland, followed by Brooks Koepka, Max. So that's that sweet spot. That's your prime time. Those are your prime time groups. And the Brooks Koepka, Max Homa, Jordan Spieth, I really, really hope, first of all those guys play fast, and so it's not going to be, but I hope that Max and Jordan are kind of joking with one another, because I don't know what their relationship is like with Brooks. They all played on the Ryder Cup together, but Brooksy seems to have the laser focus thing going. Moving along, I'm curious about the Akshay Bhatia, Bryson DeChambeau, Tommy Fleetwood group. That looks saucy. I can
So
get into that.
that should be a good group. I like that group a lot. Here's what let's talk just in generalities here before we get to our March
Sure.
picks, because there was a few guys that I'm worried about. Because we just saw it. Was it this past week or the week before? But Mr. Hideki withdrawal is coming back again. I feel like every time you want to put all the house on Hideki, he finds a reason to withdraw from a tournament the last few years, and he just recently did it again, causing me to even at 8,600, that a bargain price for Hideki. Honestly, considering his stats outside of his putting, bargain price on DraftKings at 8,600 for Hideki. I'm staying away from the guy because of his recent withdrawal. And it just seems like every time I go all in on the guy in a major, I get burned either by a withdrawal or by him barely making the cut and just like floating. Like, I can't do it with Hideki anymore. I love the guy as a golfer. I like watching him. I can't bet Hideki anymore.
Why did you have to say that?
Is he in your emergency now?
He is now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had to fill it out with I needed one more guy. And as you're talking about him, listen, if he WDs, I'll change it up. But he won the Genesis earlier this year, and I'm not going to lie, Riv is a great kind of major tester, so to speak. So I don't know. I don't mind me some Hideki as long as he doesn't withdraw. I can't say it, but
let me double check.
I was at
right now, but
I was actually just looking at nope, nothing, absolutely nothing.
You were looking at absolutely nothing. Okay, cool. You want someone who
sorry, the tee times that were jumping out at me. You can continue. And Jimmy Walker on there. That's all the name that it was, because Rasmus Højgaard, the brothers Højgaard are here. I'm putting a little love to Nikolai. Hint, hint.
So you know what, you have to. It seemed like they show up when they in these big time spots.
But I forgot that Jimmy Walker was a thing for a couple of minutes. He won the 2016 PGA Championship. He was #1 in the world for about 5 or 6 weeks.
Well, even just like 2 years ago, he had that crazy run to start the year. Remember that? He had like a bunch of top fives or whatever. Like Jimmy Walker was on fire. You never know. He's puts. We've talked about him before. He's at that point in his career where he just picks a week or two here throughout the season to go all in on, and then other than that, he's just trying to do enough to basically keep his card and make a paycheck. Like we talked about it before last season, I think on season 2 of Divots and Pivots. One of your guys though, Aaron Rye, is a guy who shows up well in my rankings, but I want to avoid this week.
Yeah, I don't know if he's major ready.
Yeah, well, and that's really what it comes down to, because that's what I did. I did my normal mathematical model. Let the numbers speak for themselves, and then I went through and honestly, what it came down to is that I feel like for the PGA Championship, and especially at Valhalla, it's a recent form kind of tournament, kind of course. So I went into recent form, and I dwindled it down from there. Because what I found was that there was enough guys in my top. What I started with 30 guys is what I picked out of my model, the top 30 guys. And from that, I cut it down based on I had enough guys that had multiple top 10s in the last 6 weeks, that had no cuts in the last 6 appearances. Like there was enough for me to go off of where guys like Aaron Rye, Alex Noren, who else? Russell Henley, guys who I just don't think are going to win a major really ever. I cut them out because I'm trying to be very specific in my guys who really have a shot at winning. And yes, that led to a more chalky lineup, but it's a major week. It's just what it is. I can't avoid it.
It's the major week. It's easy to kind of be like, who cares about the PGA? Golfers do, or at least, purists, because the top 100 in the world get invited. This is the creme de la creme. And I've been harping on this thing about the world golf rankings and how a couple dozen guys do not necessarily dictate. Look at what you were just saying too. There's a bunch of young bucks coming up, winning, chomping at the bit. They're much more ready. And, what does Liv have? They do have about a dozen or so of our aging, stars, not old, not eight, but they're outside of Brooks and Bryson, DJ's in his latter years, Phil's in his latter years, Louis Oosthuizen, and you go down the list. And so these guys, I'm not too concerned about the Liv, the talent suck over there.
No, Liv guys make up half of my emergency 9 this week, if I'm being honest. You'll see when we get there, but they're in there.
I like your, but the PGA, and that's why I was getting back to, I like your kind of assessment of, Tommy Two Glove, Aaron Rye. not being as much,
Mm.
maybe a favorite. Definitely to make the cut. If you think, I
Yeah.
think he's a cut maker. I just don't think he's going to win this week.
Yeah, the guys you can play on DraftKings to make sure you finish winning some money for sure. But if you're betting winners, I'm staying away.
Betting winners, that's what we do, son. Hey, do you know, truth gun to your head, do you know what Valhalla, where that comes from?
Well, what, the term Valhalla? Like, I know
Yeah,
it's a
like the
Viking.
word.
It's the Viking thing. It's like their what's it called? Their afterlife, like their kingdom, basically.
This is from Wikipedia, saying it's right. It is described as a majestic hall located in Asgard and presided over by the god
Right.
Odin. Half of those who die in combat enter Valhalla, while the other half are chosen by the goddess Freya to reside in Folk. The masses of those killed in combat, along with the various legendary Germanic heroes and kings, live in Valhalla until Ragnarok, when they will march out of its many doors to fight in aid of Odin against the Jotnar. I think they're just making shit up at this point.
Yeah, but if you're a flat earther, that's your whole outside of the Earth realm. I swear to God, if you look at those flat Earth maps, like half of those things you just said are on those maps. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Ragnarok and Asgard, and I'm like, come on. You're just taking stuff from the Avengers now. Let's chill out.
Might have been the other way around. I think the Avengers might have taken it from
No, I know.
Norse mythology.
I know it's Norse mythology. I know that. I'm just saying that they're just.
Here's a question.
Trying to play to their stupidity.
Stupidity. Here's a question for you. Flat earthers feel like they would bet Patrick Reed. Fair or unfair?
Yeah, they feel like they would bet Patrick Reed with a caveat of he should have won 10 majors by now because he's just that much better.
All right, my key 3 this week, I'm keeping it simple because, again, it's a major week, so mostly I was just going with my gut, but I do like to narrow it down to make sure that I'm not too far from the fray with regards to what to expect. Ball striking, putting, tee to green, keeping it simple. Tee to green is another one of those holistic things. Last week, Rory really won with his driver, 6 strokes gained on the field with his driver alone. But this thing, it's going to take the whole package. You can slice it and dice it all you want. I'm going to try to keep it simple because, like I said, it's impossible to outsmart myself. But at the same time, I'm going to end up going with my gut, mostly with these names when I read them out to you here in just a minute.
No, you have to, and really, you nailed it. Off the tee is where you got to be. There's a lot of hazards in play on this course. It's a beast of a course, just distance wise and hazard wise. You got to maneuver your way around this course accurately. So yeah, I agree. We take a similar approach as always, slightly different though. Strokes gained approach, stroke gained putting, and off the tee for me. And then I'm throwing in strokes gained par 5 because there are only 3 par 5s on this course, but they are the 3 easiest holes in this course. So you got to take advantage of them. And then strokes gained short game as well. And look, I'm not going to lie. I added in a few extra this week because it's a major week and I wanted to get real specific here. I added in 200 plus approach and I added in 450 to 500 par 4s as well, as far as my mathematical model. But if I had to cut it down, it would be approach, putting off the tee, par 5s, and short game.
All right, let's get on to the emergency 9s.
Oh, you got to give me more warning than that. Just joking. I can read his mind. I knew it was coming. Yeah, let's get into the emergency 9 here, and because mine is up right in front of me, I will get us started here at number 9. And like I said, this is going to be chalky. If you're looking to play DraftKings, you are only going to probably be able to play 2.
We're picking winners. We're picking winners here.
We're picking winners this week, so don't be expecting you're going to be able to play these guys all in a lineup. Number 9 for me, Cameron Smith. Number 8, Joaquin Neiman. Number 7, Denny McCarthy. And then I actually had these next 2 guys higher up on the list, but I didn't realize the thing about his caddy. And because I wasn't sure if the divorce thing was real, I didn't factor it in. So number 6, Rory McIlroy. Number 7, Scotty Scheffler. And then number 5, this is a guy that I've actually seen a few other golf content creators fading him this week, which leads me to say, fuck that. I'm going to play him. Ludwig Aubert. Number 3, Bryson DeChambeau, and number 2, Brooks Koepka, and then I'm going back to Xander Schauffele at number 1. He was cruising this past week at the Wells Fargo, and then he just gave it up at the end because Rory McIlroy went on a heater. I think Rory's birdied 8 out of 8 holes or something like that down the stretch. It was something silly like that, and he ran away with it. But Xander was looking in great form all week at the Wells Fargo, so I expect him to keep that going this week. He's had a great season, so that's my emergency 9. Bud, hit us with yours. Who should people play to make some money if they listen to you?
Number 9, Wyndham Clark. He was higher up, but he kind of laid an egg for me last week. I still think that, people forget he was runner up behind Scotty Scheffler at the API and the Players. He's still playing good golf. Bryson DeChambeau at 8. As much as I hate to admit it, the guy's fucking good and he's good at majors. 7, yep. Xander Schauffele. I'm putting him down at 7 because he is really good, but you look at his recent performance, he's in that top 5 zone, but he just keeps getting passed, at the finish line. And I don't know if he's got after last week. Number 6, Hideki Matsuyama. Again, that's kind of the real just wild card. 5, Patrick Cantlay. Long and straight is how he plays. Number 4, Ludwig Aubert. 3, Scotty Scheffler. And the only reason he's 3 and not 1 is because I am going to do the whole strokes gained home life, which means Rory McIlroy's number 2 and Brooksy Koepka is number 1 for me at the PGA Championship at Valhalla.
And once again, it's been the theme for the past few weeks here with us. There's only you have Hideki and Patrick. I don't have them on mine, but other than that, I think the only ones we differentiated there on is that I have Denny McCarthy. Whatever. There's only 2 different differentials here. We're pretty online here, which I don't know. I haven't updated or looked at what the season long points are between us yet, but I imagine we're still within we're pretty close.
We're within striking distance. We'll update it after this major. I look down and John Daly. I love that he's playing this week again. PGA champs get a lifetime invite, which is why Sean McKeel is still out there. Who else is down there? Rich Beam. He's riding that kind of.
Oh, Rich Beam. Okay, I've heard that name in a while.
Ben Coles. Remember he lipped out a couple weeks ago, or didn't even lip out. He kind of just missed that putt.
Yeah.
Are there any other sleepers down here? Don't sleep on J Rose. Justin Rose, he was world number 1. He won a major. He won an Olympic medal, I think gold. And so I think that he's the kind of guy that at any given moment, if he just gets a couple of lucky, he gets a couple of rounds together and puts himself in position, anything can happen. Same thing with Phil. If we haven't mentioned Phil Mickelson as much as I want to shit on him. He hasn't really been performing over at Liv. His last big performance was winning the PGA at Kiowa a couple of years ago on that monster course where he outdueled Brooks Koepka. That's the other reason. Brooks has won 3 of these things, and then he was runner-up at Kiowa, and he's probably going to win again because he's just got that mindset. But the Højgaards were a couple that I was gonna toss up in my 9s, but I'm sticking with as I look down at Brooks, Rory, Scotty. All right, Ludwig is not a major winner, but he's played at the Ryder Cup, kicked ass, and he's kind of like the phenom. Patrick Cantlay, he's won a FedEx Cup. Hideki's a major winner. Xander's an Olympic gold medalist. Bryson's a major winner. Wyndham's a major winner. Winners are gonna win.
Winners win here, but look, it would not shock me if I'm picking and choosing between 1 or 2 guys who I need to be out of my emergency 9, and I'm talking about guys, like I said earlier, like Aaron Rai, who I just don't think are ever going to win a major. I can't say the same about someone like Nikolai Højgaard. I think he's got that factor that I believe he could win a major someday.
He almost won the Masters. Which Højgaard was that?
No, I believe it was Nikolai. I believe it was Nikolai Højgaard that almost won the Masters.
Yeah, Nikolai.
Yeah. So I can see that in him. That's not my reason for I just don't think it's his time. It would be my reason for keeping him out this year. But I think he's got it in him. Look, if you're looking, because I mentioned the DraftKings and how both of our rankings are quite chalky. You're not going to be able to play all these guys on DraftKings with as a salary. In fact, so you're going to need guys who are going to make the cut, who are less expensive. So I'm going to give you a few guys here that I like this week that can make the cut for you, but just aren't going to make it to always win. And there goes my camera. Once a show, it's been recently, whatever. But I'm still here. I'm still here, though. Keith Mitchell is a guy who I think he's got the type of game for this course that he can make the cut. Somebody like Nick Taylor, same thing. I think he could make the cut here. but don't expect anything big from him. But if you're needing to just save money and get as many of these top guys in R9 as you can get in there, you're going to need those guys in the mid sixes and even as low as the fives, because there's it's going to be tough to squeeze guys in this week. If you want to go as low as someone in the fives this week, let me take a quick look here for you, because I'm not going to lie, I didn't do too much research on the fives. But if I'm looking at someone in the fives, you know what? You could get away with a Patrick Rogers this week at 5,600. He ranks pretty middle of the road in most of my stats that I use this week. The real reason why he's pushed down that far in the rankings would be his short game, but outside of that, he's looking pretty good. So Patrick Rogers is somebody that his approach on a short game. Patrick Rogers is a guy that you can just squeeze in and hope he makes the cut, and then that'll allow you some wiggle room to get some of those big guys in the emergency. Now, I don't know what's going on with my camera. I need that to come back. But I don't want to put you on the spot here. Do you have anybody that jumps out to you down there, Bud, that people could get some savings on if they're playing a format like FanDuel or DraftKings that has a salary format, unlike Underdog, which you don't have to worry about salary? It's snake draft style. You can draft whoever the hell you want as long as they're still there when it's your turn.
I agree with Keith Mitchell. Again, not to win, but to make the cut. He's long and straight when he is long and straight. If he's a couple over early on, look out. Colin Morikawa being a past major champion, I say further down. Oh God, he's still 9,100, but Wyndham Clark. Oh, wrong one.
Wyndham Clark is not down in that range.
No, he is not down in that range. He was looking at Colin Morikawa is a little further down. I think he's still kind of pricey, but he's down on my in my model. Adam Scott, 7,300. Sepp Straka, 7,500. Keep an eye on Sepp Straka. He is a long straight hitter.
Sure.
Does well down at PGA National, which is another kind of like not comparable course. Although Valhalla is unique, these guys don't play it very often. And then, of course, Justin Thomas. Don't sleep on JT, hometown boy. He's probably played this course a time or two growing up. And then John Rahm, he's not further down there. I wouldn't pay $11,000 for John Rahm. I think that's insane.
No.
Justin Thomas, 9,300. I think that's as low as I'd go. Maybe Tony Finau. He just hasn't been playing well. He's not in the right form.
So I do have some disappointing news here, because I just decided we got a few minutes here. I want to look at some quick ownership projections. And unfortunately, Keith Mitchell, even at 6,600, is projected to be 13.5% owned.
That's probably
that's a bit much, honestly, even at that price. So that's going to cause me to stay away from Keith Mitchell. Benny On is another one, 7,800. He's around 14.5% owned as well. A bit much there as well. But some of the guys that we've mentioned, at least on my emergency 9, let me see here. Someone like, so this could be big. This could be big. Cam Smith, 9,800 in my emergency 9, only projected at 6.3% owned right now.
Nice.
When you're playing DK and FanDuel formats, that's huge. That's a big advantage. Denny McCarthy at 9.1%. Doesn't really surprise me there. Like, that's whatever. He's a name that people know. He's only 6,300, so people are going to gravitate that when they're trying to save money. But Joaquin Neiman also at 9,400 at 10% ownership. I like that as well. There's some bargains to be had if you're going to use my emergency 9. So make sure you're getting some of those guys in there. But yeah, Benny On and Keith Mitchell are actually probably now guys I'm completely staying away from, because they're just going to be over owned for what I think they're going to rank out this week, unfortunately.
And if you're looking for any kind of splicing of hairs, even beyond that, finishing inside the top 20 the last time this was here in 2014, guys who are still in the field, Adam Scott is out there. Brooks Koepka, obviously. Jason Day finished T15 last time it was here. Jimmy Walker was T7. That's what I was laughing about. I'm like, watch. I'm over here going, Jimmy Walker's still around. He's kind of, remember when he was good? Watch him like show up this week. And then Ricky Fowler was T3, and Phil Mickelson was runner up to Rory's win. And what's funny is, with all the different storylines this week and all of the lights, shining on the top of the mountain. Nope, not going to happen. Chalky as fuck. Somebody from the top 10 is going to win.
And that's the thing. That's why I'm all right. Like, most weeks, if my model comes out as chalky as it came out this week, I'm like, all right, I got to rework this, because it's just, the odds are that it's not going to end this way. Like the odds are that you're run of the mill tournament week in and week out on the PGA Tour. You're not going to look at the leaderboard, even a signature event. You're not going to look at the leaderboard and see nothing but studs. It just doesn't happen. You got to find the outliers. So most weeks I'm going to say, nope, I got to rework something. Major weeks, and especially this week for this course in this major specifically, I saw that come out and I said, yeah, I'm going to roll with it. I have to. It's just what it's going to be this week.
Well, why don't you roll me away and land this plane?
I will land this plane. That's going to do it for us tonight, Tuesday night on That Sports Podcast Network. We are Divots and Pivots. I'm Andrew LeDuc, a.k.a. Mr. Mallard. This is Bud Copeland, a.k.a. Chief of Morale, holding up that Morningwood sign, coffee mug, not sign. You can check me out on Morningwood every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings. Bud every single morning on the Instagram with this stuff. And look, we're going to check in with you a few times this week, actually. We got Bud boots on the ground at the PGA Championship at this Bud's for You out there at Valhalla. And why not? I'm just going to throw out a couple extra videos this weekend because I have fun doing it. So whatever. We'll see you there. We love you guys. Thanks you for the support. Enjoy the PGA Championship and enjoy your night. And as always, stay classy, my friends.